The beginning and the end rarely are this close together, especially when the road to get here was so long and winding for both teams. But as the NJCAA playoffs arrives, that's exactly what's in front of these two teams. The beginning of what could be a long and special run for one team and a bitter, disappointing end to the season for the other. Opening face-off at the logo here, just moments away. First possession of the game goes to the hosting Knights in this 4-5 matchup in round number 1 of the NJCAA playoffs. A quarterfinal matchup. As possession quickly put onto the other side. Fighting Owls have it now in their offensive zone. Parker, quickly tested. He goes down to the knees to make the save. Knights get the clear attempt. Now wait to get their offense on the field. Up and down the field in the first minute of the action. An early look at the goal moments ago from the Fighting Owls. Now the Knights looking for their first look, and a very good look as Wojtek got the hands free. Trying to split the wickets. Teeter gets the big spoon down, makes the save. And both goalies trading solid staves. Start the game. Harford, successful clear. They're back in their offensive zone. Winner go home time.
We're not recording because we don't have a cord.
And Harford making the move behind the cage. Oh, making a nice move to get away from the shorty, but a deflection. No catch, no shot. Possession stays here, though, with Harford. He had 25 and 49, both getting in the middle of the action with the long poles. Somebody touched it. Couldn't corral it, though, so Harford still looking for the game's first goal. Quickly around the rubber band as we have played 2 minutes in this playoff contest. Exciting start and goal number 1. Cade Cordingley. Fighting Owls splitting the wickets on the other side. Had a defender right there on the hip side for a moment. Cordingley showing off the patience. Finding the soft spot in the defense and touching the back of the net for goal number 1. Score moves to 1-0. 12:50 left in the first. Battle at center X, won by Harford. Quick pass out after the double team. Couldn't be caught. So no shot there. They'll go looking once again, Harford. Trying to spin away from the defense, no such luck. Knights, the beginning of a nice defensive stand. Going swimming, and Parker going down to make the save. Accordingly, with a nice dodge to create space. Trying to split the wickets again, Parker. Not going to be beaten with the same move. At least that time around. There is a shot over the shoulder of Parker on the bounce. And that space quickly shut down, but space there just long enough for the Fighting Owls to get the hands free, rip it through the zone, and start this game on a 2-0 run. Accordingly had the first, believe that was Hugo Peel on the second. We'll check the live stats. Tell you officially, in a moment as Max Johnson gets the win at the logo for the Knights. Coast to coast. No, he's sent away by Teeter, who won the race to the line. The Knights did. Pashesky holds on to it. And indeed, that last goal for Harford was scored by Hugo Peel. The Knights in an early hole, but a manageable spot, but it gets a little worse as Wojtek can't get the pass down, or can't get the catch down, excuse me. Pass was a little low, for sure. What could have been, what might still be, Harford with possession when we come back after the timeout. An early timeout taken by the hosting Knights. 11 minutes and 36 seconds left in the first. In an early hole. Trying to talk about it as they look to dig themselves out of that early hole sooner rather than later. Almost 4 minutes into the NJCAA playoffs. Win or go home time. All the chips pushed into the middle. And as if that somehow wasn't enough to get you fired up for a little extra something sweet, I'll fill you in on a little secret. These are two teams, two programs, two fan bases that don't really like one another. Doesn't matter who's on the field, the rivalry is always action-packed between these two, Essex and Harford, Fighting Owls versus the hosting Knights. Rivalry renewed. Harford off to the hot start. Essex looking to put a stop to that right here as they try and find a defensive stand and then a little offense on the other end. A pick play set up by Hugo Peel, but he's a little worse for wear, as I'm sure he probably banged knees with the Knights player. That never feels good. Teitelbaum, short stick defender there. Nice move from the Knights D midi. Peel feeling better now that the ball's on his stick. As the ball touches the turf there, Harford holds on to it. Shot clock not working here today at the Castle, so not sure exactly how much time is left. Only the umpires know. Flying blind in terms of time of possession, so to speak. You can guess, though, that Harford running low, as that one not on cage, so it doesn't restart things. Around the corner, that one deflected. I think that was Ben Klein who got a piece of that. Harford first one to the loose ball, and there it is, finally. Speculated that Essex was getting close, and we find out they were indeed very close. Bad clear attempt, though. Quick turnover. Defense to offense in the blink of an eye. Harford turns it over themselves. Or at least it looked like for a moment they had turned it over themselves. Whistle. Keeps it right here on this side. Harford out to the 2-0 start. Looking to continue that run. Oh, what a pass onto the other side. Cutting off the real estate, though, just in the nick of time, the Knights defense. Albert Porter there for the initial stop, but Harford trying to force another. And they do. How about a third, though, as it's still pinballing around the two teams. Harford gets another bite at the apple. No shots on goal, though, so possession has not restarted. Got to think they're running out of time here on this possession, of course. Whole lot of time left in the game between these two teams. 9 minutes left in the first. Pick play. He goes the other way. Oh, tries to go over the shoulder. That will restart the possession. Parker makes the first save. Harford. Another shot. No. It does not get where it was headed. Ben Klein with the block. And the two teams continuing to battle in the Harford offensive zone. That one not on target. Fighting Owls win the race to the line. Possession grows longer here for the Fighting Owls. Long time for the Knights to be on their heels. Oh, nice move there from the D midi, forcing the ball on the turf, then scooping it up himself. That's Gavin Tattlebaum, the sophomore from Westminster, Maryland. My goodness, easy for me to say. Easy for the Knights defense to do, but the offense still on the bench, so to speak. Not only the 0 on the big board, but also struggling with the clears. As that long time on their heels continues after a short break. D midi gets it on the ground again as we are banging bodies. But it is a boomerang right now into the offensive zone for the Knights and then right back into the defensive zone, forcing the turnover, but then committing a turnover themselves. And Parker cleaning things up as it looked like the Knights defense fell asleep there for a moment. I'm sure that young man wasn't supposed to be that wide open. Save. What a start to this game. 2-0 still on the big board as now it's been more than a few minutes without a goal on both sides. Trying to make the most of it. Showing off the patience. Now getting it on to one of their big guns. Now here's another big gun, Pashesky. Pashesky running away from 2. That means somebody's open. Oh, he's going all the way around. There it goes. Garrett Luber, the sophomore from Westminster, Maryland. Pashesky getting his steps in. Knew there was space out there to be had. Eventually found it. Eventually the Knights found the game's first goal for their side. 2-0 start. Battle at the logo. The whistle brings it to a close as it was a little bit too much of the rough stuff, says Zebra Stripes. Bodies continue to bang here between these two teams. Nobody here in the castle surprised by that at all. Rivalry renewed. Hard matter when or where they match up, as we see a nice move, but sent away. Just eating the check. I believe that was Kyle Murray. Harford holds on to possession. Has the advantage here with the D midi. Pick play set up. Here's the slide. There's the shot. And the race, this time won by Colin Parker and the Knights. Nice team offense on display there for Harford, forcing the slide and the double team. Passing up a good shot for a better shot. Just couldn't finish. And the Knights having the same problem on the clear as they turn it over. Oh, it touches the turf for Harford as well. So we're going back and forth. The Knights in need of another defensive stop. Turn in the corner, and Harford gets that goal right back. That one, Evan Atwood, or excuse me, no, Will Goodwin. Fighting Owls turn in the corner, and I'm sure the eyes were big as soon as he turned that corner, as he realized there was a lot of space in front of him. Making the most of the opportunity as the Knights defense, or the Slide in particular defensively, a little late there. And now a whistle at the logo once again, this time against Harford. Essex takes over on the free possession, so to speak, but nothing free about it. Struggling to find something and then losing it at the end of it. Schoenfeld had it for a moment for Harford, but gave it away as the pass over to Goodwin a little too far out in front. Playoffs underway. Stevens, good slide defensively from Harford. Cutting off the space just in the nick of time. Almonte able to hold on to possession as that one touched the turf for a moment, but only a moment. Essex still has it, but running out of time. Pashesky. Double team, holding on to it for a moment. Now some quick passes. Almonte the shot. Teeter the save. Great lacrosse on both sides. Knights earning that shot. And what a shot it was. But what a save from the Harford goalie, as we have seen tremendous saves on both sides early in this one. Harford looking for more offense. Knights looking for another stop. They got it to a one-goal game minutes ago. Can they get it back there? Murray Smith eating checks as he's hungry. Peel has it now. The dodge. Gives it up behind the cage. Schoenfeld. He gives it up. Quick passes from Harford. Dodging on the D-midi. And the ball touches the turf. Jackson Ryan on the other side, I believe, for the Knights. And indeed it was 2-0. Ball was pinballing between the two teams on the ground for a moment. Harford got to it, holds on to it. Can they do something with it? Hands free, post, made the save, my goodness. Friendly neighborhood post, swinging in like Spider-Man to make the save there and keep this game 3-1. Nice dodge, but a great recovery defensively on the back check. But the ball just continues to pinball between these two teams. My goodness. We got a showdown here at the Castle. Harford. Hugo Peel with a nice fake shot, but couldn't get the hands free on the second effort. Here comes the pick play with him and Goodwin. Peel goes the other way, gets his hands free that time. Couldn't hit. He had two of his boys right behind the cage, easily winning the race to the line. Peel dancing once again. Quick passes from Harford. Shot. Once again, the post makes the save, but this time definitely on the wrong side of the post. Tough angle. Tough possession continues on both sides. Harford awfully close. Essex out of it. And that one tipped, so it stays on this side. And as the clock continues to tick more and more, looks like this could be the final possession of the first, as we have just over 60 seconds left to play in the opening quarter. 3-1 score right now. Peel spinning right into the double team, but passing right out of it beautifully. Cody McNeil on the other end of that for Harford, as they got 2 goals to open the first and now have 2 goals, it looks like, to close it. That was just picture perfect lacrosse there for Harford. Hugo Peel forcing the double team in on him. And once again, like we saw from the Knights on the other side, heads up offense, realizing the double team is there. Somebody's got to be open. Space has got to be out there. This time it was Cody McNeil finding that soft spot in the defensive zone, making the most of it. 4-1, at least for now, though Harford looking for a 5th as they quickly grab the ball right back. Knights turn it over at the midfield line. 35 seconds away from the final whistle of the first, and a moving screen. Possession goes the other way. Knights, successful clear. They'll hold potentially for the final shot of the first quarter, that is. Got to get the rock, though, as it has been slippery, slippery hands. A lot of balls touching the turf for this Knights team in the first quarter. Oh, Wojtek trying to go swimming. Wow, showing off the cool hands initially. Lost it on the second effort. And there will be no buzzer beater. And the score will be 4-1 when we start the second quarter in a couple of minutes. What will the score be when we go into halftime? Stick around with us and find out. Playoffs in men's lacrosse at the NJCAA level off to a hot start in this rivalry matchup between the hosting Essex Knights and the defending national champion Harford Fighting Owls. And the action ready to resume here at the Castle. Round 1 of the NJCAA Men's Lacrosse Tournament underway. Winner go home time. And through the first 15 minutes, the score right now is 4-1 for the visiting Harford Fighting Owls in this 5-4 matchup. We talked about how these two teams, no love lost between them. And that is an understatement. Always fireworks on the field. when these two teams match up, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't always have to be lacrosse. Inside on the hardwood. A lot of history between the programs as we see that one off the post. The soccer field. Some historic matchups. Going all the way to the distance in the Region 20 tournament, actually. The Knights and Harford matching up in the Region 20 finals in soccer. So it does not matter where these two teams match up, on the turf, on the diamond behind us, or inside on the hardwood. It is always an exciting matchup, and the stands are always packed. Harford finding some space, and Hugo Peel beating Colin Parker over the far side shoulder. 5-1 now on the big board. Check the live stats on the CCBC Essex Athletics website. I believe that's at least 2 goals now on the day for Hugo Peel. Indeed it is. 2 goals and an assist. 4 shots, 2 goals. Hugo Peel having himself a day currently right now, as he's a big part of why Harford sitting pretty early in this game. Now for Harford, their side, thinking the main part of that sentence is sitting pretty. Essex thinking to themselves, the main part of that sentence is right now. A lot of game left between these two teams. Essex got more than a few defensive stops in the first quarter, but this was the problem in the first, and it continues to be the problem here in the second. The clears, unsuccessful too many times for the hosting Knights. Possessions starting to add up here for the defending champs. Not only is the second quarter starting to mirror the first, this is really actually starting to mirror the action that we saw between these two teams in the regular season, as it was a 4-4 game, I believe, at halftime when Harford and Essex matched up in the regular season, as we see Harford grab another one in the second. Now 6-1 on the big board. 4 unanswered goals for Harford. As I was saying moments ago, I believe it was a 4-4 game at half when they matched up in the regular season, and then Harford came out in a hurry in the second half. Blink and you missed it. A 5-goal run, and the game was essentially over from there. That was the regular season, though. This is the postseason. Essex down but not out, but up against the ropes early and taking a lot of fire. Taking on water currently, but you better believe they're going to punch their way out of this corner here for a moment. How long will that moment be? Can they capitalize on that moment and get themselves back in the game with a run of their own? That's all it takes. One run for the Knights, and they are right back into this game. Harford looking to continue their run. That's the silver lining there for their sideline, as Essex pumps themselves up. Harford tells themselves it's business as usual as they continue to play their game and continue to hold on to this game. It is a stranglehold right now as they are living in their offensive zone. Trying to get the hands free. Knights double team, pushing him back and eventually forcing the turnover. As much as Harford is living in their offensive zone, just 6 goals to show for it, I think is somewhat of a victory for this Knights team, if there is such a thing as moral victories. Their defense is rising to the challenge more times than not, even though they've been on their heels through most of this first half. Like I said moments ago, all this Knights team is in need of is 1 run. Krushank moving it over to Wojtek. Andrews thought about splitting the double. Now slows it down. Goes right at the long pole. And that splits the uprights. That'll count for 3 somewhere, but nothing here today. Possession stays on this side with the Knights. Stevens, Andrews, shot. Teeter with the save. Closing the legs and getting the big spoon down on that one, and somehow seeing that ball through what was a sea of bodies. What an eye from the Harford goalie. What a moment here for the Knights as they go defense to offense with some urgency. One of the few times they've had a chance for that. 1 pass, 1 shot, no! It's on the ground. On the doorstep. What could have been? What might still be? As now it's Harford. Defense to offense with some urgency, though they slow down once they get into the O-zone. Just over 9 minutes left in the first half. Started the second quarter with a 4-1 score. Harford's added 2 to it. It's now 6-1. Make it 7-1. As that is 3 straight goals to start the second. That one right over the shoulder of Parker. It was so quick. I didn't see if it was on the short side or the far side. Regardless, it continues the momentum on the side of the visitors. Harford rolling early in this one, 7-1. But still, once again, a lot of time left in this one. 9 minutes and some change left in the first half. Essex taking a timeout, trying to stop the bleeding and answer Harford's run with a run of their own. We'll shake hands and put the sticks down at the logo for what feels like a crucial face-off. Possessions hard to come by here for the Knights, so extra possessions at the logo go a long way, and they had it for a moment, but then lost it on the shuffle pass. But Jackson Ryan gets it right back as Harford has that pass go over the head of its target. 2 teams trading turnovers here in the last 30 seconds. So once again, Essex has it in their offensive zone. Same spot they had it moments ago after the face-off win, and this time instead of turning it over, on the shuffle pass, they turn it over on the whistle. But again, Harford turns it right back over themselves. There it is. 1 pass, 1 shot. Essex grabs goal number 2 and puts a stop to the run for Harford. Garrett Luber with the goal for Essex. And those two teams have been trading everything over the last couple of minutes. Of course, everything but goals, as it was a 3-goal run to start the second quarter for Harford. Add that with the 2 in a row that they had scored to close the first. All in all, a 5-goal run for Harford, putting some distance early between themselves and Essex, but the Knights putting a stop to that run, and now looking to put a stop to this offensive possession and start a run of their own. Spinning in towards the middle. And oh my, what a sequence there. Cade Cordingley spinning in towards the middle and then hesitating just a bit, showing off the cool hands and finding the soft spot in the defense. Goal number 8. Now the two teams really trading goals, as the Knights moments ago had felt like they had taken their first step on the comeback trail, and instead they're pushed back one. 6-goal lead once again for Harford. 8-2 now with just under 8 minutes left to play in the first half. At the logo, Johnson got a stab at it, but Wajtek cleans it up. And trying to get that goal right back as Wajtek got the hands free, and Teeter got the big spoon down to make the save. Harford in the O-zone with speed. Parker makes a great save on the other end, as both goalies showing off the skill. Essex into the O-zone with speed. Oh, Porter dodging to space, and the bounce shot well over the cage. Excuse me, that was Evan Atwood, the LSM for Essex, dodging in towards space. And a timeout taken on the field. We'll take one too, as Essex will look to grab, another goal here in the second, as it is currently 8-2 with just over 7 minutes left to play in the first half. Harford up right now, but will it stay that way? offense there from the Knights. Cruikshank had a really good shot, but his buddy had an even better shot on the far post. One pass, one shot. Garrett Cooper, I think they have an early hat trick. Playoff matchup, live stats. Let it that picks up flag. Harford had nice goal tag. Off Westminster, Maryland, by way of Manchester Valley High School. Big day for his team. See the ball pinballing the logo. Harford has it. A little bit of space. Look down. On the field, they won offense quite now. Nice defense. Better offense. Murray Smith finally found a shooting lane. Parker found the ball and made the save, though. Hockey player. Hockey player. For a moment. See a moment. Quick back. Harford run towards the goal initially, but on the second effort, George Schoenfeld beats it cleanly. Off Bell and Tess Franklin. I spent that time. Nine, 6, 5 left play. Quick in at the logo. Trying to sneak one by on the worm burn. Parker gets down to the knees and makes the save. Essex on the clear. Line back. Line back. Double 9K. Walk tightrope. Sender could not get the pass down. Harford gets to stop defense. Turnover force. Look. Team-wide quad. Assessment. Based off the center. So all of that at halftime. As we see Harford grab another one. 10 goals in the first half now. Grab another one. got lucky. Doesn't matter as long. Get the save. Another one. Nice goal. Final minutes of the first half has arrived. Walking the tightrope. On the crease. Getting hands. Even. Nice. Has set. And pass out. Tough spot. Now illustrate. Hard side. And has it now after the pass. Odd check. His turn. Odd check. Gets the hands free and Teeter made the save without seeing it. Saw the head move in the opposite direction. Maybe saw the ball and didn't realize where it deflected to after it hit him. Regardless, he makes the save. Knight on to possession for a moment. Getting the hands free again. This time it's 8 Steve. Final shot of the first half. Able to keep his head. They're unable to do that. Jade McKenzie forces the ball on the turf. LSM spot. Eventually leads to turnover. Harford back in the ozone. Quick hit shot. Quick race to the line. That stays on here. Side Harford now thinking about holding the final shot in the first half. Well, has timeout. Harford back on offense when the action resumes. 10 goals so far in the first half. 4 different goal scorers. Cody McNeil leading the way with 3. Hugo Peel and Cade accordingly right behind him, 2 apiece. And Will Goodwin has 1 just for good measure. All 3 goals on the other side scored by Garrett Luber for the night, so it's dueling hat tricks early in this game. So now we'll see which team can execute in the final seconds of the first. Nice swim move. We've seen Cordingley use that a few times already. Peel dodging towards space this time. Parker makes the save. Knights grab the rebound for a moment, but only a moment as it's on the turf again. And that should be the final play of the... Oh, it's not! Blink and you missed it. 1 second left on the clock. Harford grabs 1 more. And that turnover in the D zone for the Knights. Deadly. As They thought they had made the defensive stop to get them into halftime down just 10-3, and instead, blink and you missed it. Harford grabs another one. Check out the live stats to see who scored that one for Harford. We know officially as we arrive into the halftime break, the score 11-3. It's Cody McNeil, goal number 3 in the first half for him. As the score at half, once again, 11-3. The stage has been set for the second half. Will it be the same old song and dance that we saw in the first half, or will one of these two teams, or at least Essex in particular, find the necessary adjustments that their coaches want to see them execute? We are 30 minutes into the NJCAA men's lacrosse tournament, and the action has been great so far. We've got 30 minutes left to find a winner. Score once again, 11-3. Harford up. Can they hold on? Or will there be a second half comeback in front of us? Stick around with us and find out. set the stage for both. They didn't get the results they were looking for in the Region 20 tournament nights. Harford put that tournament behind them. Now focus CCAA way. Minute of the second half. Tremendous start. Both nights have quickly third quarter had their side. Battle at the logo. Nights start back top way. Help come back. Not live there at half. That coach staff wants to see them some kind of adjustment they can make, able to execute that consistently, get right back in the game. Like that would happen or help such serve Harford. They Essex grab first goal in the second half, trying to answer. On the field they want. Tattlebaum, the D midi, working with the hot stick accordingly. Pick play, works to perfection. That was a pick and roll executed Stockton and Malone-esque there. Setting up the pick, rolling to the near side. One pass, one shot. Harford does indeed grab that goal right back. I believe that was Will Goodwin. I'll check the live stats on the CCBC Essex website to be sure. Battle at the logo. Knights first to it, but could not scoop it up. And since they were the last ones to touch it before the ball went out of play, Harford with possession. So it's Cody McNeil, excuse me, with the goal. Cody McNeil grabbing goal number one of the second half for Harford. Moves the score to 12-4. Peel, fake shot. Moves it over to Cordingley. Split dodge. Double team. Pass. It's on the turf. Peel's there. And Parker makes the first save. And the second. No, the umpire comes in and says that crossed the line. Tough break there for the Knights goalie, Colin Parker. making the initial save. But just too much mustard on that dog as it bounced out of the spoon and then behind him over the line for one more. Doesn't have to touch the back of the net. All it needs to do, is cross that little line. Johnson getting it right back. Getting that goal right back as well. Beautiful give and go executed there from the Knights. Max Johnson with the win at the logo, and Garrett Luber, who had 3 goals in the first half, grabs an assist as well on that one. Max Johnson giving it up to get it right back in an even better spot. And that one comes with a sigh of relief. As the Knights trading goals right now with Harford, as they are in a spot where they cannot allow the Fighting Owls to put a run together. A run at some point here in the second half could spell the end of the day, as we see a beautiful hit right in front of us. Johnson lost the battle at the logo, but laid some lumber at the end of it, showing all the boys and girls at home that the battle does not end with the face-off. Got to field your position, so to speak. Get to work defensively or offensively. We saw Johnson get to work offensively moments ago. That time, picking up the bootstraps on defense. Now it's his team getting to work defensively. Murray Smith shuffles it over. Fighting Owls dodging in towards the middle on the D-midi, trying to get the hands free. Knights force the pass. Here's the drive. Parker beaten again on the short side. Not a lot of space there for Cody McNeil. Walking the tightrope on the near side. Don't know if he beat Parker through the wickets or on that near post. Regardless, it is a 14th goal on the big board for the Fighting Owls, as Harford sitting pretty with each goal. The confidence grows for their side, and of course vice versa. For the opponents on the other side, Essex watching the confidence grow for Harford, and their hopes slowly being dashed here in this one, as there is still a lot of time left in this game, but unable to make up any ground. Instead, just trading goals with Harford and watching the game stay right where it is. Now we have a very troubling sight for the Knights. Max Johnson being helped off the field. Max Johnson, 10 wins at the face-off spot already here in this game. Losing the face-off specialist could be crucial, as the game in a tough spot for the hosting Knights. Harford trying to make it a little tougher. Long pass, one more, shot, goal, top shelf cookie on the near side. McNeil grabs a second in a row, as it's now a 10-goal lead for Harford. Beautiful passing on display from the defending champs. Long pass from behind the cage into the center of the field. And once again, we watched these two teams trade a good shot for a better shot. And this time around for Harford, it results in the 15th goal of the day. 20th goal between these two teams. As it is now 15-5 with just under 10 minutes to play in the third. Essex in a dangerous spot. They're calling all troops right now as they try and stop the bleeding in the late stages of this round one matchup. Essex and Harford, defending champion Fighting Owls versus the hosting Knights. Ask these two players, ask players for these two teams. They'll tell you we flat out don't like the other one. Ask these two coaches, they'll tell you the other side brings the best out of them. Any way you put it, it is Hemingway and Faulkner, the Greasers versus the Sox. It's one side of the tracks versus the other. Neither one of them ever wants to go home with a loss. The action, as always, has been fast and intense, and the noise from the crowd dialed up to 12. But of course, this time it is win or go home, the quarterfinals of the NJCAA men's lacrosse tournament. Well underway. Harford in a commanding spot right now, 10-goal lead, and oh my, Parker, what a save. Takes one away on the near side. Riding the wave as he was moving towards the other post and then quickly had to put his foot in the ground. Quickly has to make a throw onto the other side as the Knights were running out of time on the clear. Lost possession. Defense to offense. With some urgency as a long pole is in the O-zone. And he gives it up. Always exciting in that moment. Even if it is the LSM, Daniel Goodwin, not an LSM. He's usually tucked away on the other side. Always exciting when a D-man breaks out into the O-zone. You know he's thinking about getting the hands free, ripping a shot. Talk to goalies. Those bounce shots from the long pole, some of the toughest shots to pick up. As Parker saw that one cleanly. Went down by the ankles and made the save on the far post. Ball ends up on the turf on the clear. Luber has it. Wojtek holds on to it. As now possession earned for the Knights. Clear numbers. Not where they need to be for this team. 13 for 18 on the clears. Which you think to yourself, that's not bad. What do you mean? On the other side, Harford 18 for 19 on their clears. Tale of two cities. As we see Benjamin Mace come in with the long pole and break it up. Turnover forced once again by Harford. And the turnover numbers also not pretty for this Knights team. 18 turnovers total. 12 of them caused by the visiting Harford Fighting Owls. So yeah, the Knights have shot a few toes off with some unforced errors, but also this Harford defense smothering right now. Knights have forced a lot of turnovers themselves as well. They have 7 forced turnovers. Just with the clear numbers not going their way, it's hard to capitalize on those turnovers. You see a great move from the D midi, Stevens, poking it out. And the whistle will point it in the other direction. As Chase Stevens, the D midi from Baltimore, Maryland, by way of Sparrows Point High School with a nice move. Essex in need of the clear. They always say all good things must come to an end, but the reverse is true as well. Bad trends have to come to an end. Can the Knights turn some of those bad trends around and start some momentum rolling onto their side? Said it multiple times in the first half. All the Essex Knights need is one run to change this game, and I still think that's very much true. Just seems more and more like we may not see that run as we see some great defense on one end leading to some better defense on the other. Great shot, better save. My goodness. What a sequence there. Great defense from the Fighting Owls, forcing the ball on the ground, defense to offense with some urgency in the blink of an eye. Parker picking up the laser and making the save. Laundry on the field right in front of us, and the Knights will be going on the advantage here, but for how long? And this man-up opportunity for the Knights comes with just over 5 minutes left in the quarter. Still very much in this game, but their backs firmly pressed up against the wall right now and in need of a man-up goal, or at least a really strong man-up opportunity. They need something to grab some momentum for their side. Put a little bit of a scare into Harford and see how they adjust. No adjustments to be made for the Fighting Owls right now as they pick one off quickly. Man down goal. One pass, two pass, a 16th goal on the day. This one comes down a man. That was surgical offense after the turnover. And that right there is the execution of a team on a mission. I've said a few times, Harford defending national champions. And of course that's true, but that paints a very small fraction of the picture. They are actually the 3-time defending national champions. As Harford is looking for the 4-peat. And as it looks more and more like they'll be punching their ticket to the semifinals with a win here at the Castle. What an opportunity for the 4-peat Harford has in front of them, as they are the hosting team in the NJCAA tournament for the semifinals and finals. Of course, action still left in this one, as a ticket to the semifinals has yet to be punched, though Harford trying to write their name in on that ticket. 4 minutes and 28 seconds left in the third. We have a break in the action as the training staff comes onto the field. 16-5 is the score. Harford down a man on the big board, but up big with the score. We'll be back when the action resumes. The Knights player certainly worse for wear, but hearing the cheers from the fans as he left the game with the training staff. Possession resumed for a moment for the Knights as they were moving it around the rubber band but could not find anything offensively. And eventually it's turned over. And under 4 minutes to play in the third quarter, Harford finding the clear. Now searching for more goals. Schoenfeld has it on his stick for Harford. Ben Klein comes in to play the one-on-one defense. Now Jackson Ryan on the far side for the Knights. Forces Will Goodwin to pass it out. Murray Smith gets a step, rips one home. What a step that was for the big man, Kyle Murray Smith, showing off the speed and then showing off the size as he cut off the angle for the back check and gave the defense no chance. "17 goals now for Harford. And if things continue for Harford, they will have a nice little break between this game and the start of the semifinals, which will be taking place next week. May 9th and 10th is the scheduled dates for the semifinals and finals. If you're interested in joining the action live at the Harford Sports Complex, as we see a big hit at the logo, Drew Washington draws the whistle. Washington takes a seat, but not in the no-no zone, so no flag. Just a violation. Damage done, though, as Harford takes over on the possession. Harford in full control as the Knights in desperate need of goals, but to get those goals, they've got to get stops time of possession, very lopsided all game long as it continues to live in the offensive zone of the Fighting Owls. And if the Knights were able to get change of possession on at least half of the stops that they have gotten, this game would maybe look a lot different than it does right now. But of course, that is speculation, and we don't deal in that. No ifs, ands, or buts, only absolutes. We're going to find a winner here in this one, and right now it is looking more and more like that winner is going to be the visiting Harford Fighting Owls. Dancing in front of the crease, showing off the patience. Grabbing an 18th goal on the day. 18-5 now with under 2 minutes to play in the third quarter. And with Max Johnson leaving the game earlier, Drew Washington is at the logo taking the face-offs now. Mr. Washington, a freshman from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Possession with Harford here in the final 90 seconds of the third. Harford getting their offensive unit on the field that they want. Comes the goal scorer minutes ago, Kyle Murray-Smith. Has the advantage with the D-midi and turns it around. Trying to dodge in towards the middle. No space to be had initially. Good slide defensively from the Knights. 60 seconds left in the third. Harford got to be running out of time on the possession, though, as well, as we do not have the shot clocks going here on the side of the fields. That's being kept by the refs on the field, so only they know how much time is left. Trying to get the hands free. Wow, what a job defensively from the D-midi. Santiago living in his shoes. Harford still pushing. Grabbing that one on the far side. One pass, one goal. Again, moving and finding that spot where no one was. Move without the ball, good things happen. But of course, the other side of that equation, when you have the ball, keep your head up. How many times have we seen Harford pass up good shots for better shots? That one, a perfect example of that, as he was turning the corner on that far sideline. Probably could have rose up and ripped one. I don't think anyone would have faulted him for it, as that was the end of a long possession. Instead, realizing the double team was on him, or at least coming towards him, so that means somebody's open. Schoenfeld right back to work. This one on the other side. Parker read it beautifully this time. Made the save. Long throw. And that's all she wrote for the third. Harford taking a 19-5 lead into the fourth and final quarter. We are just minutes away from the final 15 minutes of regulation in this NJCAA men's lacrosse playoff matchup, taking place live from the castle at CCBC Essex. The score, once again, 19-5 through the first three quarters. Harford trying to punch their ticket forward and home, as they are the hosting team for the semifinals and finals this year at the Harford Sports Complex. Essex trying to play spoiler, as they had hopes of knocking off the defending three-time defending champs when this matchup started. But now they are in need of an epic fourth quarter comeback. Who's going to be up in front when the final whistle is blown? It's 19-5 right now. Stick around with us for the fourth quarter. The action has resumed on the field. And oh my goodness, bodies banging on the far sideline. As the score may be what it is, but the effort is still strong on both sides. Nobody wants to give an inch. Shesky had it on his stick just a moment ago, gave it up to Rob Andrews. Two gentlemen offensively used to big days, been held in check. Though it certainly doesn't come down to those two. Everybody on this Knights team being held in check. As that's goal number 1 for Peyton Stevens, and he's usually a big-time contributor for this Knights team. Stevens, freshman from Sparrows Point, Maryland. Big part of the 151 goals in the regular season for this Knights team. Stevens actually second on the team in goals scored during the regular season, 27 goals. 32 points on the year for the Knights freshman. It's now possession number 1 in the fourth quarter for Harford. Dancing away from the dodge. With control on the far sideline, now in towards the middle as both teams making the adjustment personnel-wise. Behind the cage, Schoenfeld still out there for the Fighting Owls. Stopping, starting, double team. What a save! It is Riley Kilroy in between the pipes now for the Knights. Riley Kilroy, number 32, a freshman from Hampstead, Maryland. Bodies banging right there in front of us, losing a glove. And that will draw the whistle. Like two trucks colliding. My goodness, what a move. Tyler Swift, the D-Midi. Eating the check as he's hungry. Kilroy hungry for that loose ball as he comes out and grabs it. Can't get the clear though. Harford right back on the attack. Oh, only for a moment. Great back check, so to speak. Swift once again. Eating the check on the other end. Sending out one. This time around, and Kilroy! Killer be killed. Harford walking the tightrope on the crease. Firing one point blank. Sent away. Possession stays on this side. It's Harford looking for goal number 20 on the day. Looking to leave no doubt. 151 goals in the regular season for the hosting Knights. On the other end, 237 goals on the year for the visiting Fighting Owls. Harford outscoring Essex by almost 100 goals. Knew that coming into this game it was going to have to be a defensive matchup as Kilroy goes down to the knees this time to make the save. As Harford peppering the new goalie for the Knights. He's rising up to the challenge. Talked about the regular season matchup between these two teams when it was 4-4 at halftime. Harford able to make the adjustment in the second half, break things open in the regular season. Whatever that adjustment was that they made in the second half, I think they carried that over into this playoff matchup. It felt like they had figured something out, maybe so to speak, against this Knights team, and maybe that was it. as they came out firing 2 goals to start, and Pashesky gets the hands free on a nice one. It was 2 goals to start the game for Harford. And then they were trading goals at one point in the middle to late stages of the first quarter. And then another 2-goal run to close out the first had Harford sitting at 4-1 to close out the first 15 minutes. And then second quarter, much different story. That was when Fighting Owls really put some distance between themselves and the Knights. And now Essex really barely in the rearview mirror. Laundry on the field as Harford has a free possession. Hugo Peel into the big spoon of Kilroy. As Peel came in off the sideline with some speed, got the hands free. But Kilroy is having himself a day in relief. Riley Kilroy, freshman goalie, making some noise as he could be the starter of the future moving forward for this Knights team. Has another year of eligibility, and his man in front of him, Colin Parker, already made his commitment, moving on to the D1 level. Got a lot of players on the field here today between these two teams, already talking to coaches at four-year schools. A lot of scholarships going to be given out to these young men who have put their talent on display here today. Of course, one of those teams not getting the results they wanted as Essex gives up another one there. Knights not getting the results they were looking for coming into this game, of course. As I said when the fourth quarter started, they had hopes of playing spoiler on the three-time defending national champion Fighting Owls. A long ways away from that as Harford grabs another one there. That one coming on the advantage as Harford was up a man. LSM coming in to scoop it up. That's Porter, I believe. Indeed it was. LSM, Albert Porter, sophomore from Brunswick. Possession earned there for the Knights. What can they do with it? Under 10 to play in the fourth. Pass onto the far sideline. Space open. What a pass. Back to the near sideline. Pashesky eats a check to give it up to Stevens. Oh my, that was pretty. That was great defense until it wasn't, as Pashesky eats the check but gets the apple at the end of it as he moves it over to 2-2. Talked about the Knights' freshman goalie in between the pipes, Riley Kilroy, being the part of the future for the Knights moving forward. The man who just scored moments ago could be a big part of their future as well, as Peyton Stevens has another year of eligibility. Man with the apple, though, a sophomore, Jacob Pashesky, sophomore from Baltimore, Maryland, by way of Boys Latin High School. One of the many players on the field here that I'm sure is already talking to some scouts at four-year schools. Harford, number 45, Cade Cordingley. Number 19, Cody McNeil. Number 21, Hugo Peel, I'm sure, already talking to some coaches at four-year schools, as they've been a big part of the driving force that is this Fighting Owls offense all game long. As we see the Knights get the clear, but only for a moment, as Kyle Murray-Smith gets the back check. Pinballing around between the two teams. Knights finally getting it. Jackson Ryan. He's a man for the Knights who is already committed to where he's going to be playing next year. As Stevens tied up, loses the stick and gains possession for his team as the Laundry out there on the field. Possession stays here with the Knights as they go on the man up. Man up opportunity here for the Knights. It's going to be 30 seconds. Not a long advantage at all here for the Knights. Now let's see what they do with it. Krushank over to Wojtek. Wojtek finds Stevens, excuse me. 2 goals in the fourth quarter. Krushank gets his hands free and Teeter makes the save. Excuse me, that's no longer Bodie Teeter in between the pipes. I now realize that's Corbin Whittle. Sophomore goalie for the Fighting Owls getting some playing time in the fourth. As the clear, successful there for the Fighting Owls, but only for a moment as they turn it over. Ball touching the turf a lot over here on both sides over the last few minutes. Of course, for the Fighting Owls, you can afford a few mistakes with the game looking the way it does right now. 28 in the final minutes as Bashesky runs down the loose ball. Great hustle. Knights trying to make the most of this possession as Bashesky blows a tire, loses it. And the possession ends with nothing. Another empty-handed trip into the O-zone as Goodwin earns possession for the Fighting Owls. Oh my, no one wanted it. Ends up on the turf, and where is it going? The other direction, says Zebra Stripes. Saw Jaden McKenzie and Goodwin both there with long sticks in the O-zone. Neither one of them thinking that the pass was to them. Ends up being a turnover, and blink, and you missed it. The Knights inching a little closer. Bashesky and Luber, I believe, on the 1-2 there. As we'll check the live stats on the CCBC Essex Athletics website for the official score update on that one. 6 minutes and 37 seconds left in the fourth. Score moves to 29. As Essex now has 2 in a row. Bashesky did have the goal. It was Luke Wojtek who had the assist, actually. As Essex trying to make it 3 in a row. Pass deflected. Stevens trying to get it right back as the Knights got a little extra pep in their step. Stevens has the run. Sent away. Whittle with the save. And Mace wins the race to the line. Stevens not only had a step on the defender, able to use the body as a barrier. No chance on the back check. No chance on that possession, at least for now, as Harford wants to take a timeout and talk things over. It'll be their possession when we return. 5 minutes and 55 seconds left in the fourth quarter. We thought Essex was down and out, but they are hanging around. Time, not a friend though. And the final 5 minutes and change now underway. Essex has scored the last 2 goals, giving a little glimmer of hope to their sideline. Harford trying to dash those hopes on that one as he was looking to go for the top shelf cookie. That was Eric Hennessy from the near sideline trying to go to the far post. Kilroy goes down to the knees to make the save. Clear. Unsuccessful. Return to sender special as Harford right back into the O-zone. Dancing around now, showing off the patience. Murray Smith. Across the field with the pass, touching the turf for a moment. Hennessy got it back, and that's on the wrong side of the goal. Kilroy cleans up the junk. Running away from 3 blue jerseys. Somehow kept the ball in his stick as he ate the check and draws the flag. Jackson Ryan picking up his man at the end of it. I believe that's Evan Atwood on the far sideline as well. No, that's Ben Klein, excuse me. Knights backup goalie, a little worse for wear after taking that check. A possession earned for his team and a man-up opportunity. The final 4 minutes and change. 90-second advantage here for the Knights. Essex quickly around the rubber band. That last pass couldn't find its target, though. Wojtek unable to get the catch. Harford takes over. Down a man. Don't expect this Harford team to be turning the Jets on anytime soon. 40 seconds left on their man down situation now as they have possession. Two teams not at even strength. But of course, most importantly, Harford sitting pretty on the scoreboard, 29. A little comeback effort from the Knights we saw moments ago, probably sniffed out. The door probably closed on this game and their season. And what an effort it has been from them all season long, but just too strong of an effort for the visitor. Harford, 3 minutes and 14 seconds away from getting the best of their rival, the Essex Knights, for the second time this year. They got the win here at the Castle during the regular season, and now 3 minutes away from getting a win here at the Castle in the postseason. Of course, sandwiched in between these two matchups between the Fighting Owls and the Knights was some results in the Region 20 tournament that both teams weren't expecting. Essex going down in the semifinals to Howard, and then Harford going down in the finals to Howard, as Harford already been dethroned this year in the region. Howard Dragons, Onondaga Lasers, and Nassau, of course, trying to make sure that Harford is also dethroned in the national tournament as well. As you've got that target on your back every year you come in after winning the previous year, as we see a beautiful swim move leading to a goal. My goodness. George DeCock. Pools are usually closed at this time of year, but George went swimming found a goal in the bottom of the pool. My goodness, that was pretty. That may have been the prettiest one we've seen all day. 22-9 now is the score on the big board. Harford with possession quickly after the restart. Final 2 minutes and change now, ticking away. Harford has at least one more game in front of them this season, as they are exactly now 2 minutes and 8 seconds away from punching their ticket to the semifinals that will be played on their home turf. Will, of course, still be the visitors technically in the matchup, as they were the visitors in this matchup as well. This was a 5-4 seeded game. Knights the 4th seed, Harford the 5th seed. So Harford will technically be the visitors, but getting to play in front of their home fans. I'm sure the Harford faithful who packed the decks here at the castle will be packed in like sardines at the Owl's Nest at the Harford Sports Complex. Of course, they are going to have to deal with some tough matchups. Already lost twice this year to Howard, once during the regular season and then once, like I said, in the Region 20 final. And then they lost to the Lasers of Onondaga earlier this year in the regular season. So right there, 2 tough matchups on the horizon potentially for this Harford team. As, wow, that was a beautiful move. Shot, save, Kilroy. Sends him home unhappy. I think that was Edwards, Rowan Edwards, number 34, going swimming that time for the Fighting Owls, as they love that swim move. You time it up nice, it could be a real pretty move, as we've seen twice in a row now. But it's an also really efficient way to split the double team, as we saw there seconds ago from the Fighting Owls. It's one for the highlight reels. Style points counted for anything. Harford be sitting on a game breaker right now, and my goodness, that'd be a game breaker too. May have dated myself for all the youngsters out there who didn't grow up playing NFL Street, but whew, my goodness. Smashing the L1 button on that one. Style points adding up in bunches. Swim moves over the shoulders. When it's your day, it's your day. And it has certainly been Harford's day here today. 23-9 is our score right now, and Harford still searching for more. Race towards the line, won by Kilroy. Knights goalie has put on a tremendous performance in relief. As we have seen, great goalie play on both sides today. In the final seconds, let's run down some of the team numbers here. One last time, 53 shots for Harford today, 24 shots for Essex, 38 of those shots going on goal for the Fighting Owls, 17 of those shots going on goal for the Knights. 8 saves for the Fighting Owls goalies, 18 saves for the Knights goalies. Ground ball numbers pretty even, 53-43 in favor of Harford. But the number that matters most of all, 23-9. That's the final in this one. Harford punching their ticket to the semifinals. The dream will continue for at least one more day. There will be at least one more fight on the other side of the season for the Harford Fighting Owls. But of course, the flip side to that coin is the dream comes to an end for the hosting Essex Knights. The dream will continue for the freshmen who come back next year to try and avenge this loss And a new dream awaits the sophomores who have been and will be awarded scholarships. For those others, a tough ending, but for the rest of your lives, you'll carry with you a lifetime worth of memories, lessons, and friends that you built because of this beautiful game. And like the great football coach Bill Parcells once said, for the rest of your lives, don't ever let anyone tell you you couldn't do it, because you could, and you did it. Now, I butchered that quote big time, but you get it. The action has come to a close. The curtain is closing, so it's time for us to say so long, farewell, and, well, you know the rest. Thank you for joining us this afternoon and all season long for the final time this year from the lacrosse field at CCBC Essex. I'm Aaron Thomas, and I hope you have a great summer, and hope you can join us again next year when we do it. And good night, and congrats to both teams as Harford punches their ticket to the semifinals.